Welcome, everyone. This is Finally Finals, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Sanswinda,
Hello.
Werendus,
Hello, everyone.
and Kenabathian.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. And this week we have a smaller cast, maybe because we have a smaller patch instead of a big one this week.
Maybe.
And I'll say, yes, we do have update 29.0.1 with a few tweaks in here, such as quests and adventure areas. Fixed Tom Bombadil's size in the Woe of the Willow. Seeing how
Was he too small or too big? That's what I want
I don't know, because the first time I ran it was yesterday after they made the fix. Anyone here do Woe of the Willow before the patch?
Sadly, but no. Negatory.
Negatory, then. Then let's then head out to. We'll have to see if someone in the chat saw that on there. But in the meantime, the cooldown for Gulmuk damp mold skills has been slightly increased. The yellow eye effect on Gulmuk's corrupted pool effect has been removed.
So it gives you jaundice?
Yeah.
Okay.
The quest, Cultivating the Wildwood, no longer requires retribution of the trees to have been completed. And Thormain now has the ability to grant side quests if his main quest lines have advanced. But you notice here they said has the ability to grant side quests if his main quest lines have been advanced. He does not have the ability, though, for you to turn them in.
You can get them, but you'll have them forever.
Oh, actually, that might be the one there. Fixed issues with Thormain and Minda phasing at the wrong times. Yes. And also because right now, if you do the cult retribution of the trees, if you still have retribution of the trees after turning in cultivating the wildwood, it's possible for you to get out of phase with them and not be ever to be able to turn in retribution of the trees afterwards.
Oops.
And yes, I know this quite. I've seen at least one person on the forum say so, and I've run into that issue because of the way I was recording an episode at the time, and I didn't want to do another trip to Thormain before continuing on, and of course, I lost the opportunity to turn in that quest as a result of that. And I know at least one other person on the server had the same issue in there because he was trying to look for Thormain and can't find him because he's no longer phased in that area, and the other version of Thormain won't let you turn in the quest at him.
I'm kind of glad I haven't had a chance to start the Wildwood yet.
So my suggestion to you then is to make sure that when you pick up Retribution of the Trees, that you turn it in before you turn in the other quest I think he gives you in that area, so before he advances, so that you don't run into that issue. And I hope they fix that soon. And Minda Heathertoes will no longer give 2 quests at once and then vanish, making turn-in impossible. Actually, I had absolutely no trouble with Minda Heathertoes, so I guess some people had trouble with Minda, some people had trouble with Thormain, and I hope nobody had trouble with both of them. All Wildwood hoppers are now able to be collected. Happy hunting! The quest, Punishing the Poachers, now has a shorter respawn time. The NPC Logi will now stick around and bestow clearing enemies in Zarkul Saloon, even if scouting for the scout has been completed. Farewell to TBD Brawler, who has entirely too eager to see Trader's Wharf. Yes. And I'm just wondering what a supposedly dignified elven lady is as a brawler class, but okay.
Well, she was dressed more like a skirmish soldier. Like she had on like a skirm companion outfit on.
Well, I suppose that makes sense. Well,
So she likes to brawl.
she likes to brawl. I guess we still don't know exactly what a brawler is.
No, but I'm even
The
more
mystery
curious now.
continues.
Yes, I know, but I want to make sure that her nails don't get into my face. Non-physical ruins in the Weather Hills now have their proper physics. Fix
What,
the floating.
did you float when you went there?
I'm sorry, I'm still laughing about it. Pine's comment about the claws is like biting and scratching or something.
Well, that's one thing because we're
It's a
talking about
toddler brawler.
I'm trying to think what a brawler is. I mean, is it someone who punches you? Is it someone who does all sorts of dirty fighting? Is it someone who's just good with any weapon and brawler is the first word they came up with? Is it someone who uses brass knuckles? What's a brawler? I guess we'll find out in a few months.
The elf lady pulls out her scrunchie and takes off her press-ons. That's the brawler.
Ah! She was incognito before then. Yes. Fixed the floating edge of the shipwreck in Forhale. Corrected a texture issue in Kira's Ungul.
Wait, who noticed? Who noticed a texture issue in Kirith Ungol, home of spider people?
Yes.
All the
Somebody who
spiders that
wasn't
want
as
to get
worried
you.
about like running away from spiders. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, who noticed? Who stopped to wait? Hey, this rock isn't right. And,
They
it's like
were
they're being chased by,
looking-
like, Shelob or something.
They were looking anywhere but at the spiders.
I can actually understand that. Yeah, kudos to them.
Placed a missing post in the Kingstead Meadows neighborhood. And grounded floating ballistas in South Ithilien.
Man,
Corrected a rock placement issue in Wildwood.
just one rock.
Yeah.
It must have been a big one, because if it was a little one, nobody would have seen it.
Fix an issue where a resource node was not displaying correctly in Malinhad. Corrected stuck spots in Erebor and the Glimmer Deep. Corrected a terrain issue along the water's edge in Ered Mithrin. Landscape treasure chests in Minas Morgul have had their respawn timers set to be in line with other landscape chest spawns. Enemies in the Circle of Sorrow are no longer trapped below ground.
Wait, wouldn't that be good?
Yeah, if you don't want to fight them. Probably not if you're supposed to kill X number of them
Oh.
and they're all underground.
Okay, like potatoes?
Right.
This potato is under the ground, and it's like, oh, goodness, what shall we do? But,
And
it's actually supposed to be under the ground. There's no digging to go. Anyway.
Oh, and I thought that the Circle of Sorrow was Dante's Ninth Circle of Hell. Where you have all those people trapped in the
No,
ice.
ninth is not sorrow. Ninth is for, like, the betrayers and traitors. Sorrow's much higher up.
That's pretty low down.
Yeah, it is the betrayers and the betrayers. There is, if you want to take that a little bit more literally than I was intending, but okay. And fix the radar issue in Keladim. What was the radar issue, I wonder? They still need to fix the radar issue where those dots occasionally decide to wander off your...
I was just
That
gonna
would be
say,
everywhere.
Does that mean that only in Kellendim the dots don't wander off your radar now? I don't know.
Rogue dot! But I'm right here.
And for UI, new UI animations released in Update 29 for active abilities in the quick slot bar have been reverted for now.
Yay!
In the future, we intend to make a toggle available for players to select between the older UI animations and the newer UI animations.
I didn't mind.
It depends. Do you prefer a little light going around, or do you prefer ants going around, apparently?
When I have more than one toggle skill toggled, I definitely prefer the ants, because it doesn't hurt my eyes as much. But
Yes.
By the way, Luanori makes a comment in the chat. Boy, they sure spent a lot of time and effort ignoring the Mac client.
No comment.
Yeah,
I was about to say,
yeah.
where? How about you?
Well, there's a Mac client?
It's right next to the Windows client on the download page on the LOTRO.com website.
He says, as if we did not actually speak on it with a big
I
paragraph
know.
from where last week.
Yes, I know. I was being.
Are you being facetious, Pine?
Yeah, I was being a little facetious, but apparently I didn't do a good job of it. So let's head into the Lotro Beacon, issue 198.
I'm sorry, I forgot to reinstall my sense of humor about it.
That's a big download. You might want to. You might want to get some more memory.
Oh, you don't want to hear that download.
I thought that would be an upload if you were yelling. It's coming out, not going in.
Yes, let's enter Lotro Beacon, where Laurel's Den has a new spring outfits. You could see the fashions over at Laurel's Den blog, and the new. Anyone have any comments on this new outfit?
I'm impressed with the poses she manages to catch, actually. Whereas always just kind of standing there like, yep, new clothes.
It's me.
Oh.
I'm dressed.
I kind of like the Lightning Runekeeper. It's got the Narrowhall vines and shawl, but she says shawl, but to me that looks an awful lot like the wedding shawl, but I guess I haven't looked at the Narrowhall shawl very closely. But yeah, that looks really cool. We need Terry here to really critique them, but I really like that Lightning RK.
Terry, we need you. Type in the chat quickly.
Well, while Terry decides whether or not she wants to type into the chat, we have last week actually, this is about. They do give a shout out to Squirrel's Guide that we'll talk about later this week, and this episode. And also, Gamer Reverie kicks off year 2 with a look at reflecting pools. And you can learn how to use them and more over on his blog. And Under a Full Moon takes place at midnight Eastern Time on Saturday on Crick Hollow, which is midnight at Eastern on Crick Hollow. That's going to be quite a party. Now, is that midnight at the start of Saturday or at the end of Saturday?
Yes.
And I suppose that we could check on here Under a Full Moon, Saturday, March 27th, midnight Eastern Time. So that is start time. Oh, okay, I see. Start time is March 27, 2020 at 11:59. End time is.
I think that's just how they had to put it in the calendar. I'm going to guess it's tonight. So if you're listening live.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yes. So that would be. Well, then actually. If that's a little bit funny in the calendar on the way, because even that would be technically wrong because it's because it would be March 28th at midnight for the end time in there. Because the start time, the end time is before their start time.
Well, I say if it was last night, then it would have started on the 26th.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, either way, it's right. Yeah, the calendar program sometimes can give you grief. And that's it on Under a Full Moon. But in any case, if you're hearing the podcast version of this, it's going to be too late for you, even if it hasn't already taken place.
Terry did mention in chat that she was disappointed that the poster didn't actually identify the specific items and dyes she was using.
Ah. Oh yes, Terry likes to know what they did and what creative uses they made of various pieces. And it looks like March that that the Oaks had a concert earlier today. Rolling Kegs has a concert, Tales of the Seven Clans, tomorrow on Laurelin. And Huge Sound Records is celebrating LOTRO Week this week. Composer Chance Thomas is offering a digital purchase of the single Roaming Free and featuring screenshots submitted by players. And you can check that out at their website. Now comes our question for this week. Why doesn't Free have food delivery?
They have food delivery. The problem is it always gets eaten en route, and so nobody knows about it because it never actually arrives. It's delivered by hobbits.
Yeah.
Also, they do have food delivery. It's just living food, and then once you actually get the turtles to where they're supposed to be, they don't make them into turtle soup like they're supposed to. They keep them, and chaos results.
Oh yes, there was that question. It's a whole thing centered around an attempt at food delivery that completely failed. In fact, that quest is why they don't have food delivery, because the last time someone tried it, it completely failed. That's it.
Pretty much.
Now they have a turtle problem.
Now they have a turtle problem.
Or at least that one guy's neighbors keep complaining about the little noises all the time.
Yes, I'm sure they do.
And then there's that one guy, the one hobbit that's absolutely terrified of turtles, and it's probably his worst nightmare.
Well, you forgot the other reason that they can't have food delivery is because then sometimes a hobbit's lunch gets stolen, and they have to go eat it in the robbers' den with the robbers. After
getting poor, unfortunate people to help them take back their lunch when they could just as easily go get some. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
I've had too much salt today. Anyway, I don't want my high blood pressure to get any higher because I might have a heart attack or a stroke, and that is not how we get ratings on this in this establishment.
Then let's head to the fan site news. Are you looking for a spring festival guide? If you are, you can go over to Fibro Jedi, who has you covered on his blog. And last week, we managed to garner some weapon-grade pretzels.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Laurel has a trick to access the War Steed panel on low-level characters, and you can watch the video on YouTube.
How low level?
Well, I guess you'll have to go to the video to find that out.
Well, it's the War Steed panel. It didn't say anything about actually being able to use a War Steed. I wonder if this is a trick about being able to see what kind of cosmetics you have.
Yeah, because that's the most likely thing, because if you have some cosmetics in there, because I know that one of the first things I do is in order to empty out my bags a bit when I get out of the starter area is that I take all of the War Steed things, click on them so that those cosmetics get somewhere. They magically appear when I get to the War Steed level, so I guess there might be some way in order to see what they are.
But you can't actually purchase War Steed cosmetics and apply them until you get a war horse?
Right. And they won't give us
that
one at level 5.
Sense.
My Rohan
Here, we will totally give you War Steed stuff when you've, like Valar, and not even on this character, just for the account. But if you get a War Steed cosmetic, you can't use it until you get a War Steed.
You can use it, you just won't be able to buy any yourself on that character until you have a War Steed. So you can't, accidentally spend all your LOTRO points on War Steed cosmetics and then never level up to use a War Steed and then be sad about it. Probably is something like the reasoning. They could, solve it by giving us all the option to get a War Steed at level 5, though, for a few LOTRO points.
Seriously, because who's using war steeds at level 80-something anyway? Once you get out of Rohan, they're just for travel. They've kind of abandoned them anyway. Why not give it all to us? Come on. I'm making a good argument here. You know I am.
Especially if your character is from Rohan. I'm just saying.
You would already have a war steed.
All of Sansa's characters are now from Rohan. Oh, wait.
Amazingly. Wow, your dwarf is from Rohan?
Yeah, haven't you heard about the secret dwarf group there that, like, raises these awesome war steeds? It's totally
War
a
ponies,
thing.
Yeah. War ponies.
Yes. So did anyone actually open that up while during all that discussion and determine what that level was? Out of
I was
curiosity?
frothing and I had no
It
time.
is for cosmetics. If you are under level, you can go to the store, and if you go under Worsty Cosmetics and click on appearances, there is at the top here on hers, it's Battle-Worn Steed of the White City. It has a little clothes hanger thing, and you can click on that and it opens the panel.
Ah, okay. So that's how they do it. It's going through the LOTRO store to do it.
The in-game
Alright.
store.
Oh. Yeah. Alright, I guess that makes a little bit of sense. For LOTRO Stream is your first stop to find LOTRO on Twitch. You can get shows from the past week from Balviel, the Token Professor, and Uger. And also on Twitch, Ending Fire tries permadeath, Bloodborne runs update 29 instances, and Lady Fowlorin goes out collecting. And over on YouTube, Louis7 streams and the launch of update 29, Renfail goes Middle Earth grooving, and Kevin 2099 Iffy heads into the Wildwood. A lot of people are heading into the Wildwood these last couple of weeks.
Middle Earth groovin'. That may have to wind up being a song if it's not already. Middle Earth groovin'. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what he did. It's on YouTube.
Is that
Anyway,
like Farfagrugan?
yes. But also Dancy. With a jig.
Oh, with the jig. All right.
With the jig.
For our screenshot of the week,
Honey Goat.
Floxy is delighted with the Spring Festival in this week's screenshot. Thank you for sending it. Email your screenshot to lotro@settingstonegames.com.
Is that what people are going to start calling their significant others on LOTRO now? Hey, honey goat! Really?
I'm not dating a goat. I just have a honey goat.
Yes, if you're married, you do. You have a honey goat.
It has a big bottle of meat on the back, too. That tells you everything you need to know.
Well, I guess so.
Sometimes when you date someone, that's the only way to get by. The big bottle of meat.
That ends our weekend for this week. So let's head to our store sales and see. Square Enix, what's on sale this week?
Prepare for battle. It's 25% off. Stat tomes, regen food, run speed boosts, attack damage boosts. Now through April 1st. The weekly coupon does get you a free 100% crafting XP boost with the coupon code ZoomCraft through the April the 1st. I can just hear Terry right now saying, nothing good on sale. I don't know, the attack damage boost might be handy, but I'm not going to buy them. I get them in Hobbit presents.
Then let us head out into our site news where Squirrel has posted an update 29 Imbuement guide, which did get a shout out in this week's Beacon, and he talks about what you need for your imbued items, where you need to first, how you acquire your base LI, choosing legacies for your LI, imbuement and best practices, and upgrading your legacies on there, and Also, level locked items on solo content. And also free use items or small group or instance content. Also, efficient farming for these things,
There is no such
Terry.
thing anymore. Sorry.
as well as a suggested route, as well as replacing legacies on new allies, and then a final note and revamp.
I just almost said something and had to stop myself.
Okay, I think we are going to move away from there before the salt starts pouring. So
Yes. And I have a heart attack or a stroke
yeah.
because I have too much salt content today.
Let's then head into our week in gaming. And Calabathian, what were you up to?
Well, yesterday, Friday, I ran with the Academy with my lore master and threatened all the enemies that we came across with death by Q-tip.
The audience would like some clarification.
Okay. Your lore master, right around the time you get in the Lone Lands, and you have to do a bunch of Trestle Bridge quests, which is what we were doing. One of the weapons that you get is like your staff, and it has these two ends on it that are kind of pale and round, and it looks like a Q-tip. I realized that on Friday as I was wielding it, and I was like, I'm killing things with a Q-tip. And yeah, it was hilarious to me that I could, have damage with a Q-tip. It was also hilarious that my Bog Guardian pet had like bursting root, and it's, that sharp root that comes spiking up out of the ground and, just, stabs somebody.
I've been on the receiving end of that several times in my LOTRO career, yes.
Well, if you happen to be sending and doing that to, like, say, an orc shooter on top of some wooden scaffolding in the distance, it doesn't. It's mid-air underneath it, where this root comes out of nowhere in the mid-air and does it, and I found that amusing as well. I was like, hey, it's a magic root. This is why he's called Bogmaster B. Yes. Other than the fact I had no idea what to call him. I did rename my crow/raven kind of companion as Cacaw, so we're good there. And yes, so there was death by Q-tip, death by root, mid-air root, as a matter of fact, it bursts. And yeah, it was fun for all. I also did an Inn and Ale League run on Celevorn for all of the tasty stuff. I can buy boxes to get spring tokens with. 6 spring tokens each for one of those boxes. I mean, hello. Which helped me actually get the jig emote, which I think I sent it to Morkendeer so he can jig. But, if I do the Inn and Ale League, for crystals, I don't know. I may have to do one for, someone else, because that jig emote, it's going to have to be on more than one person. Just, Morkendeer first, because, yeah. But I also got the new Spring Festival horse, and it's actually very pretty. I like it. I then went to the maze because, I then went and actually did the the sunflower quest, and it gives you like a whole bunch of, like a whole bunch of the leaves.
Like
and I only needed and I only needed like 2 leaves to have 60, so I could actually get a crystal and shut down for the day and take a nap, because I was getting very sleepy. So I went ahead and got the elf, finding the elf quest for the maze, as well as the tween quest. And ran through the maze and did those and had enough and got my. But yeah, chasing tweens in that place makes my kidney hurt. I'm just gonna say that. I don't know if it's maybe the adrenaline or the frustration or what. My whole thing with the tweens is I found one spawn point, and I just kind of sit there and wait, usually, and it'll pop up and I'll click, and it does it fairly frequently, and I'm like, I'm done. I don't have to run around trying to stab my finger on my mouse, like, come on, why are you not? Yeah. So yeah, I don't usually do that quest because it annoys me. But I joined Pine and Company on Tuesday evening to poke around the new area. That was pretty interesting. I won't necessarily go into that just yet, but there were a couple of problems, irritations, I guess you'd say, with some of the collection or otherwise type stuff, because it's not a you do it, you're in a group and one person does it and it counts for everyone. It's everybody has to do it, especially like the traps. Oh Lord, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'll let someone else do that because, again, trying to not be too salty today. And in other news for other games, I managed to create an evil Sith version of Celeborn on Star Wars: The Old Republic, which makes all his choices that much funnier when he's being evil. It's great. It's great. And then I made a Morkendeer version as a sniper there, and that's been fun too. But yeah, fun times were had by all, which is good because we're not going to talk about this week otherwise. Guare, how about you? How was your week?
Well, my LOTRO highlight of the week was Tralfaz on the forum, and also on Landroval I discovered, is a magnificent human being who talked me through getting back into the game. There was a lot of learning for me to do all kinds of fun things like creating new volume boots on my Mac and loading different software, OS software onto it, and then having to deal with a third-party app to be able to get LOTRO playing. He was also even walking me through. It's like, okay, I think he was thinking, okay, I talked you into it. So he even helped me after the fact, making sure I was getting my other things moved over.
It's great customer service.
Hey, SSG, you say you don't have Mac support. I know a guy, of course, I think he has a job already, but he does a great job for you for free on the forum. Maybe you should do something for him. I did, though, finally get back into the game, where I promptly fought a wasp, a giant toad, and so many goats. Ran the bee instance several times, the seasonal instance, so that I got the honey goat, although I was already 15 tokens into getting the honey goat when the festival started. Sorry, I decided to pause. My apologies if you could hear somebody going by very loudly with the car. I think that part of that was thanks to girls running Frost Bluff, the seasonal instance, and all of us taking turns dying, but we did get it done, and we got a lot of tokens from it. So anyway, I got the honey goat. So back in LOTRO, kind of nice to be back with my kin, and it's all thanks to this wonderful human being on the forums that does a lot of help, not just for me, but I've noticed for a lot of other Mac users. I have plenty of salt, but I don't know that me venting here would do anything to change the way they seem to look at Mac on there.
Guare, are you saying Tralfaz is the Mac Daddy?
Yes, Tralfaz is the Mac Daddy. He is a prince among forum posters. May his runekeeper ever throw fire and lightning. I did spend time in that other game that I've been playing a lot of lately, though. I actually have two different sets of highlights for ESO. Highlight number one, the Shiny Duo was very busy in dungeons this week in Cold Harbor with Terry Adwin. And I'm so happy because, there are 3 more side bosses that we need to get for that we might get someday, but I'm glad I don't have to go back in again anytime soon, if at all. And in the Alakir Desert and Stormhaven today with Sanswinda, we cleared a couple of more public dungeons. That was fun. And we also finally finished the Alakir Desert. We can get out of the sand and go to Bankarai and get attacked by vampires. Anyway, the ESO highlight.
Mommy says that it's wonderful that you're back.
Thank you. The ESO highlight number 2 is that I threw mud balls and pies at royalty and pies at authority in ESO this week because the Jester Festival is on. The guards took it much worse than the kings and the queen did. Probably because the kings and queen thought that somebody was going to take care of it, although there were guards in the room and nobody lifted a finger, and I just kind of ran off and went and paid my 51 gold to take the heat off of me. The guards take it a lot more personally, though. I did find a really good place to snipe them from fairly close by to one of the thieves outlaws havens in Wayrest, so that I could like poke my head around. They'd be pathing, and I like throw one, and they'd be going ah, and I'd be like turning around and zipping and ducking down the wooden panel doors. So yeah, I got a bunch of achievements for the Jester Festival done already, and it's kind of been a lot of fun being pie throwing hoydens in ESO. Since what did you get up to this week?
Well, this week I did a lot of leveling in LOTRO. I leveled a Runekeeper to 40 started leveling a Runekeeper to 40 with Maven and Nitesh, running Storm on Methedris, and that was a lot of fun. Kind of figured out where my skills were and what they were doing again, because it had been a while since I'd been on that character, and had a lot of fun zapping things. We were on 3 Runekeepers, and it was a blast. Literally. And then I leveled a Guardian all the way to 40 to run with Terry and Pineleaf and Calvathian. But discovered I may have aimed too low in my level there. Because we started on the other side of Wildwood and it was higher level. But I was level 40 and I was a Guardian. And I was very squishy. I might need to go back and do some deeds because I definitely leveled to 40 by crafting, farming, and cooking.
Well, it's okay, Sans. I mean, you had Mork there, and Mork is like almost level 50, and he could stab things when y'all got in trouble, and you know.
I do wonder though, why is Trestlebridge guarded by level 50 roots when the entire zone is level 45?
Probably to keep people like me out, because you'd be like, level 50 roots. I guess I better go level up some more. I don't know. I didn't have that problem starting from the other side last week, but starting at Trestlebridge was rough, and it was a good thing that my Guardian at level 40 can make the Guardian Acorns, because I definitely traveled by Acorn several times after dying. Oops. But that was fun. And then I leveled a Bjorning to 18 in time for the field trip. I think I actually started at like 15 when I joined the field trip, but I was in the middle of crafting. But my Bjorning did some other quests too, so at least has 2 virtues, which is good, and was way less squishy than I had been on my Guardian, though we were also doing different quests, so I'm not sure that was really a fair comparison. But it was a lot of fun, especially once I got a weapon that was not level 1, which is... So I'd been running around with my great axe, and I hadn't really thought about, like, the level of the weapon. Things were dying, and I got out through Noglond, and I'm, like, going up into the goblin camp and coming back down, and I'm like, these things are taking a little while longer to die than I expected them to, but it's no big deal. I head out, and I go to Thrassy's Lodge, and I'm in the instance, and I'm like, these things really are taking a while to kill. I'm not going to be done in time for the field trip today. And, I'm only level 12. And so I get out of there and I've killed them all, and some of them were yellow, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to have time to run through Bree, because I'm not killing things very fast. And so everybody's getting on for the field trip as I'm farming, and I'm leveling up pretty fast at this point, but it's 20 minutes till the field trip. They got on and they're like, yeah, how's it going? I'm like, I'm wielding a level 1 great axe. No wonder things aren't dying.
It was this is, I can hear Terry going, overpowered fur balls.
Yes, but you notice
Be
she's
fur
not
balls.
actually in here, so I can tell the story.
Well, I was just gonna warn you. It's really dangerous or dangerously easy to do that with the Bjorning. I discovered when I was in Nan Amlung East that I had like level 22 Great Axe.
Yeah. Well, and like you can't upgrade great axes that often at like skirmish camps or other places, so it's nice because otherwise I would have been in really big trouble.
Right.
But
I had a similar thing when I was taking a ward through Dora Brownlock's farm. And it was the first time in, maybe even the first time ever, or the first time in a long, long time in which I've used veteran status. And yeah, I was at Dora Brownlock's farm before I figured out why it's taking me forever to kill anything. And yeah, I never opened up the box.
yeah,
of
what's even
weapons.
better, Pine, I opened the box of weapons and I looked at them and I was like, yeah, this would increase my DPS, like right when I got out of the intro. I was like, yeah, this would increase my DPS, but I'd rather wield a great axe. And so I didn't change my weapon. And I got a great club later from somebody and I was like, you know, that actually has more DPS. That would probably be good. Nah, it's a club. I don't want it. I sold it. Like, I really, like, I didn't stop to think about, like, my DPS and the time it was taking to kill things. I was just like, no, I just want a great axe next. And I did not find a great axe next. So, Zerak very kindly crafted me one.
Well,
And
as
then
long as you
things
had
died way faster.
well, as long as you had a two-handed weapon to upgrade to, you could cosmetically equip a great axe.
Fair. I hadn't actually thought that far, or else I probably would have tried the club. But yeah,
So you
that
went
was my
with
story.
butter knife and or toothpick.
It was a toothpick shaped like a great axe, yes.
So basically, when you joined us, it was not only death by Q-tip, it was also death by toothpick.
No, because Zerak gave me a very nice great axe just before I joined you. Out on landscape again. And then things were dying very nicely. It was beautiful. And yeah, it was also really nice to not feel like I was constantly in danger of being squished. So my stint on the Guardian was fun for the last few weeks with the field trip, but I'm enjoying the Bjorning too. And I have greatly enjoyed the Jester Festival in ESO the last, 2 days that it's been live? 3 days? Counting today. And I am officially a Lady of Misrule. I have awesome personality to go with this. A fun costume. A hilarious new toy horse. I have to say, the hobby horse in LOTRO is so incredibly awesome. The one in ESO that I got is labeled a toy. They apparently don't have any dwarves to enchant anything. Which is very unfortunate for them. But it is on fire, and is really funny. So, it's kind of fun to see how different games dealt with the same type of mount.
What Sans isn't entirely saying is what the whole thing with enchanting is, it doesn't go fast like her hobby horse in LOTRO.
Yes, LOTRO dwarves did such a great job crafting the hobby horses. Like, full props to LOTRO dwarves. I love the LOTRO hobby horse, and you can ride it in more areas now, so it is the top of hobby horses in games that I've seen so far.
Oh, yes. Did they ever get around to allowing you to do it in Rivendell now?
Yes!
I
checked it today. You can hobby horse in Rivendell.
It is so awesome. I need more hobby horses for all my characters. But on ESO, I have the hobby horse for all my characters because it binds to account, and it's an account bound thing, and I can just pull it out of collections whenever. But it does not go very fast. At all. And it's really funny anyway. So, yeah.
It's on fire.
It's on fire. I have to be careful where I use
Literally.
it, though, because I can't keep up with anybody if I'm trying to, like, ride with them. Which makes it significantly inferior to LOTRO's hobby horse. But it is still pretty funny, and especially with my the changes to the animations for my personality for mounting and dismounting and the different emotes that they can do. Yeah, it's pretty fun. And I'm looking forward to testing this on Terry and Pine Leaf next week. Or the next time we can play. Because I don't think they've seen it yet, and it is incredible. I also threw pies and mud and cherry blossoms, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's chaos.
Fireworks.
Lots of fireworks. Yeah, it's been fun. So, Pine Leaf, how was your week?
I'll begin with my Creek Hollow Wildlands warden, who reached the first tier of dailies, so I was running through all this, and I'm also working on finishing up the quest deed in the area, where I completed one of the quest deeds, which was to do a certain number of quests in the region. Then you also need to do a certain number of quests for each of the 2 factions. So I haven't quite finished those. Actually, I did finish one of them. I finished ones for the Trestle Bridge, but I think I have one more quest to go for the Trader's Wharf on that one. And it looks like that the final item in there is to run all the missions at least once, and then that will finish up the quest deed in that area. My honor warden was running errands for 3 lords at the Merry Swan in Minas Tirith. And I had forgotten how long that chain is. I think it's already been going on for 3 episodes of my series that I'm recording with this character. I mean, because every time I think, okay, it's over now. No, they're just getting warmed up. And over at Langemal, I surprised Sans Window by showing up to the Tuesday session with a warden instead of with a minstrel.
Yes, I was very surprised. I even made food for a minstrel, but there was a warden.
There's a warden there.
Only partially useful food, sorry, Pine.
Well, no major problem in there. Anyway, it's not. In fact, I think it probably affected you more from the fact that you used that you created a character that was more appropriate for a group that needed a tank.
Yeah, it would have been better for a group that needed a tank and had a healer, but I learned a few things.
You learned a few things?
Yeah, my guardian is squishy.
I
I
thought
need
you were
more
going to say
self-heals.
that if you expect Pine Leaf to play an overleveled dwarf minstrel, then expect to have something completely different pop up next week.
Well, I mean, you could have leveled a new minstrel too.
Well,
I didn't know what you were gonna do.
I didn't think I had time to level up a minstrel properly because so I needed to do it quickly, so I wound up going with the class I was familiar with.
Fair.
Yeah, I should have thought about leveling up the new character several days earlier. If I had done that, maybe I would have had time in which to get somebody else. But I didn't think about it then, unfortunately. So I'm playing with a warden in there, and when I got to level 20, I decided let's level up with missions. So I was running the missions in Trestlebridge in order to get up to level in there, and I managed to get enough of those marks that I was able to get one of those spruce horns that you can get from the Wildwood area in there. And I decided to bring that out in the Tuesday group. Terry took one contemptuous look at it and goes, "Really?" When I brought out this little horn out there. At least it gives a chance to hear the sounds in which the horns now make, since I think last week we were saying none of us had heard any of the small horns yet. And that concludes my week in LOTRO. Our top supporter this month is LOTRObuild.com. This is a collection full of LOTRO databases that include an item databases, relics databases, and a titles database. Also, you can use it right from Discord using the LOTRO Build bot. We currently have 16 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, you can go to the Donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like to send one, you can send it to podcast@loachplayers.com. You can also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, Loach Players @Loach Players, Arendis @Arendis, Polyfit Polyfneal, Senswinda @Senswinda, Terryadwin @Terryadwin, Guarendis @Guarendis, and Calabathian @Calabathian. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Loach Players News. You can join our shows at loachplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Polyfneal reminding you to skirmish responsibly.